Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Today is Wednesday, the 14th of February. It is 20 to 10, so it's very late. This morning I told Trinidad and Tobago that I will not be doing a nightly live video as I have been accustomed to for over a year. But I promised that as needs arise, I would then have no choice but to come to you and to raise the issue with you. Because I want you to understand this, and the issues we're about to raise now will prove to you conclusively, once and for all, that the only political organization in this country that is seeking the people's interest is the Progressive Empowerment Party. Now you know that we have been championing and raising this issue of the situation with the Member of Parliament for La Hoqueta Talparo. Because what is taking place in the Parliament is starting to appear to be contempt. And I'm going to prosecute that matter for you now. I'm going to show you how even the Speaker of the House risks being put in contempt of Parliament. This is where we are tonight. But before we go forward, the name of the video tonight is Weapons of Mass Destruction. Because this video is being done on the heels of Keith Rowley's press conference today. Now, I was unaware that stunt was taking place, but I listened to the entire thing. And the entire presentation to the media was just a stunt. It was pure bullshit, and you have to see it. You have to wake up and face what's going on in the country, because the government and the media today colluded to fool you. We're going to deal with that. Let's deal with the issue of Maxie Cuffie, and I want you to know we are not letting go of this. We are going to squeeze on this until somebody squeals. The entire government now is part of a massive conspiracy to defraud the country. Here's how. This is the first issue, and I want to show you how, they say when people dig a grave for you, they risk falling in it themselves. Anna Ramdas wrote an article entitled Disgusted Cuffie. Now that Disgusted Cuffie followed on the heels of my continuously raising the issue of where is Maxie Cuffie, what is his condition, and if it is costing the people of Trinidad and Tobago to pay for his medical expenses overseas. In Disgusted Cuffie, the article, she wrote, so she did her research. This is the first thing we want to touch on. The Parliament standing orders state any member who is unable to attend a sitting of the House shall inform the clerk as early as possible of his inability to attend and seek a leave of absence. It states if any member is absent from the House for more than 6 consecutive sittings occurring during the same session without the leave of the Speaker, such member shall vacate his seat in the House under Section 49(2) of the Constitution. I want to read that again for you. It states, if any member is absent from the House for more than 6 consecutive sittings occurring during the same session without the leave of the Speaker, such member shall vacate his seat in the House under Section 49(2) of the Constitution. Now, every time Maxie Cuffie, and first of all, let me go on record here, because the same Express, the following day, ran an editorial trying to retract Anna Ramdas' story. A little bit too little and a lot too late. But what it said, and what the Express said in its editorial, is that the government, by its failure to keep the public informed in a timely manner, has allowed for the matter to become ugly. And that is the only point I agree with, because I am coming across like the bad guy here. I am the one raising the issue about this man who is suffering his 3rd stroke. He is in a very bad way, and I feel for Maxie Cuffie. The human in me feels for the human in him. But this is not that. This is government. I want to ask a question. How far do we go along the line of the sublime to the ridiculous before everybody else joins the conversation? Do we need all 41 members to have strokes and become incapacitated before we say, wait a minute, the Parliament serves a purpose? You see, it is out of the Parliament the government is born. The government is a tool of the parliament. The opposition is a tool of the parliament. The parliament is chief. And when members of the parliament are absent from the parliament, the underpinning of representation of the people falls. And this is where we're at. So it may be 1 or 41, but that 1 is setting a precedent. Now, according to this, any member who is unable to attend a sitting of the House shall inform the clerk as early as possible of his or her inability to attend and seek a leave of absence. That is important, especially in voting on bills. Stick a pin. It states if any member is absent from the House for more than 6 consecutive sittings occurring during the same session without the leave of the Speaker, such member shall vacate his seat in the House under Section 49(2) of the Constitution. Every time a member of the People's National Movement government goes to the Speaker and asks the Speaker for leave for Maxie Cuffie, and the Speaker fails to ask for a justification, the Speaker is in contempt of the Parliament. This speaks about 6 consecutive days. Maxie has been absent for 6 months, and at no point did the Speaker ask for evidence of Maxie's health or his condition. How do I know that? How am I so certain? Because despite Stuart Young's stunt in November and Rowley's own stunt in December, Keith Christopher Mugabe Sabga Rowley admitted to the country today. He admitted in his press conference today that they have never been updated as to Maxie's medical condition from any of his doctors. That they rely on information second and third hand through family. And I found that strange. Because Stuart Young was able to tell the nation with conviction, Maxie was coming back in December. He was coming back in December. Media raised their hand. Because the issue found itself in the public space because social media said, hey, what's going on? And the media said, listen, we have an answer. The government's communication machinery, Stuart Young, has said that Maxie Cuffie will be back in December. So obviously, without asking a question, because this is where the media gets me angry, without asking a single question of Stuart Young, it accepted that. The media accepted Stuart Young's position that Maxie Cuffie was coming back in December, and nobody had evidence one way or the other. I was still going on the information that I was given by medical people that Maxie is brain dead on life support. Nobody in this country has spoken to Maxie Cuffie one-to-one since September. And they're claiming that WhatsApp conversations between them and Maxie is proof of life. But it isn't. That cannot be proof of life. I could set up WhatsApp accounts tonight and have Abraham Lincoln chat with King Henry VIII. WhatsApp is not enough. We need proof of life. More importantly, because we've exceeded that 6-day limit so many times, 5 times a month, 6 months running, because we've exceeded it, we need a fit for work certificate. We need his doctor, his attending physician to say without a doubt that Maxie Cuffie is able, physically fit enough to take up the responsibility of a member of parliament and a government minister. And I said this before, and I will say it again. Maxie's first stroke and Maxie's second stroke, the reason Maxie had a second stroke was because Maxie went into government. Last time I said this, the religious right, some people came out of the woodwork and told me about miracles. This is not about miracles. Listen, I have an open mind and I want to believe in miracles. But I want to talk to you about fact. What a stroke is so severe that it damages a part of your brain. And that's why it manifests in all of the symptoms, the physical symptoms that you see. Half your body don't work, your speech slurred, and it gets worse from there. And that's your first stroke. Patrick Manning never recovered. He never recovered. And when he went with his fast self to try and get back into politics, he dropped dead. Because your brain, I don't want to go too far down on this side street, but your brain is who you are. Your muscles and your skeleton, they give you movement. They take your brain around, but you are your brain. When your brain dies, you die. Everything else could change. They can't change your brain. So when you have a stroke and you damage command center, it never recovers. At best, they promise you are close to normal life with a serious regime of diet and exercise, meditation, different therapies to keep you moving forward one day to the next. Doctors will tell you there is no guarantee after your first stroke of any tomorrow. They can't tell you 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9. You could die tomorrow. All a first stroke tells you is a next stroke coming. Maxie, after his first stroke, ignored his doctor's advice, took up the role of a member of parliament, went through all of the stress of a general election, and took on the role of a minister, a government minister, a minister of communication, no less. Because I function as a communication advisor to a government minister, and I tell you something, we didn't sleep for about 14 months. So I know that is not an easy job. And he took on that responsibility, and that is what caused his second stroke. And the point I'm trying to make to you is when I was told that Maxie is brain dead on life support in where this is, Washington, I had no doubt it was correct. I contacted friends in the medical fraternity, senior doctors. I have people who are some of the best neurosurgeons in the world, and I asked, is it possible? When Stuart Young said that Maxie Cuffie was back to full, they said that is impossible. Doctors said to me, it is not possible. When you have a stroke, piece of your brain dies, it cannot come back. The most you could hope for is that different parts of your brain pick up the slack. It's not possible to ever recover fully, and a second stroke, madness. So we started asking for, out of respect for government, out of respect for the representation of the people, out of respect for Maxie Cuffie and his family, give us proof of life. Show us he is not dead. And I'll tell you why. Because you, every single person watching this video right now, even if you are the most Balize smoking, Kool-Aid drinking sycophant, you still don't trust the PNM. And you still don't trust Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley is a man who lied to Trinidad and Tobago for 31 years about 2 children that he had. Think about that. Think about what is required to have 2 of your children hide from the world, deny their paternity. Have 2 children and their family conspire to lie for 31 years. Keith Rowley lied, told untruths, fabricated, deceived the nation. Every year, Keith Rowley had to sign a bio for the parliament as a member of parliament. And every time he signed, at the bottom saying, to the best of my knowledge, everything within here is true. And it said he had 2 children when he knew he had 4. Keith Rowley committed a crime. In a real country, he would have been prosecuted. He would have stepped down as prime minister already. But this is not a real country. I don't want to get sidetracked. But I'm saying to you that without proof of life, we cannot go on Keith Rowley say so. Worse, we can't go on Stuart Young's. All Stuart Young has demonstrated to this nation is that he is willing to do anything for the position that he has. Stuart Young, you know, they make a joke here. Friends will help you move. Real friends will help you move bodies. If Keith Rowley needs somebody to move a body, Stuart Young there. Stuart Young is ride or die. And I'm telling you. And so these two people have been our sources of information. Two people who have demonstrated to us without a shadow of a doubt that we cannot trust them. So we have to ask for factual evidence, proof of life, fit for work certificates. Because in the absence of those two documents, Keith Christopher Mugabe, Sabga Rowley, and his entire cabinet knows that they are in contempt. They are conspiring to defraud the House of Representatives. Because it is already factual that Maxie Cuffie cannot come back as an MP. And if you know that, and you are the person charged with the responsibility of calling the by-election, and you hide that information, that is a lie by omission. But no, this is not just you lying to your friends. No, this is not just you passing off a white lie. This is not you denying to Charon. This is you actively concealing the condition of a person that is important to their position in the House of Representatives. They are a sworn member of Parliament. You are in contempt. The entire cabinet is in contempt. The opposition, by its silence as part of the Parliament, they risk being in contempt. Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the entire band of UNC members are supposed to get up and walk out of the House in protest until proof of life and fit for work documents are presented to the Speaker. The Speaker has to raise this as a matter of urgent national business, because if you don't, you are setting a precedent that the House of Representatives could be built on lies. And that's where we're at. As of now, the entire country has been lied to by the government and by the Prime Minister. We do not know what the Speaker of the House knows, but we know that the Speaker of the House does not know Maxie Cuffie's medical condition. And if the Speaker of the House does not know Maxie Cuffie's medical condition, and I know he doesn't, because Keith Rowley said today he doesn't, if the Speaker doesn't know, on what is the leave being granted? See where we are? See where we are? What a tangled web we weave when we conspire to deceive. You ever heard that saying? You see where we are? We now at the point where it is not just the government in trouble, the Speaker of the House in trouble, and the entire system now. Because under the Constitution, the Parliament is supposed to self-regulate. What the Parliament is doing is deceiving the population. The people elect you to serve, and now you're fooling the people. Maxie Cuffie is misbehaving in public office, even if he is brain dead, because of a conspiracy that is allowing him to draw salaries under false pretenses. You understand that? You understand the level of crime we're dealing with now? Misbehaving in public office. If Stuart Young knew he was lying, misbehaving in public office. If Keith Rowley knew he was lying, misbehaving in public office. That drags the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Commissioner of Police into the thing. Look where we reach. Because now, we're not just talking white lies. We are talking criminal activity. Look where we reach. Look where we reach. When all we've been asking for, please, is give us proof of life and a fit for work certificate. If Maxie Cuffie is in fact brain dead or close to it, have the decency to respect the man's condition, his family, the nation, the constituents of Lahoketa Talparo, terminate his position, instruct his or her excellency to dissolve, to call a by-election, declare Lahoketa Talparo vacant and call a by-election. That's where we are. But he has been trying to delay and to stunt, and he wants to go walking about in Lahoketa Talparo now and to play somehow them coming in their saviors, when all they've done is defrauded those people of representation. There are things that the people of Lahoketa Talparo need for their constituency, that they've been denied representation in the very house that grants it to them for 6 months. for almost a quarter of the life of the government that's there. And check where we are. Check where we are. Check how many public office holders are being dragged into disrepute here. What do we do? What do we do now? Hear this part. The crime gets worse. You understand everything else I just tell you, right? I'll show you how everybody from the Speaker of the House in contempt. And we have to raise this issue. Let's go further. This one is worse. The medical bill of Government Minister Maxie Cuffie will be footed by the state according to provisions in the Salaries Reviews Commission SRC report. That is Anna Ramdas's opening line. And she did not research to see if what she was writing was in fact true. This is the truth. The 98th report of the Salaries Review Commission provides the terms and conditions of service of officers within the purview of the SRC. Under the heading Medical Benefits, the report states a cabinet minister has entitlement to medical attention, treatment, and prescribed drugs for self, spouse, and children who are unmarried and under the age of 18. Listen to this. At any health care facility under the regional health authorities, including the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex, where such medical attention treatment is not available at such healthcare facility, the cost at any other hospital, institution, or nursing home in Trinidad and Tobago. Nowhere does it say that the cabinet can vote to pick up Maxie Cuffie, Minister of Communication and Public Administration. Now he's no longer MP, he's still Minister. Keith Rowley said today, I will play it for you, because I know all I didn't listen to him. I want you to hear this. Give me a minute. When Kurt Allen called them parliamentarians, he wasn't lying. He knew what he was saying.
Minister Maxie Cuffie. Questions surrounding his health and how he's recuperating.
The only update that we can give, as we've been giving along the way, are updates that come from the family. And so far, the update is that he has made considerable progress and that he...
Are you hearing it? I want somebody to tell me if you're hearing it. Are you hearing that part? Because I could raise it. You just have to give me another minute. Just give me another minute to raise, to do it. You were hearing it?
Good afternoon.
Just give me a minute to get this to you, because I need you to hear his words.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, it all are threats that yes, it's still might be progress, and that he, the conceptualized and prepared for action by groups of persons. And therefore it is quite incomprehensible for persons in authority to be said. Did not need and with all kinds of strictures.
Are you at liberty to give an update on Minister Maxie Cuffie? There have been questions surrounding his health and how he's recuperating.
The only update that we can give, as we've been giving along the way, are updates that come from the family. And so far, the update is that he has made considerable progress.
You heard what he just said? The only update we can give is an update that comes from the family. Listen.
And that he, the exercise that he undertook abroad was successful, and he should be back home in the not too distant future. We don't have a date.
I want to hear him admit.
But we rely on
the bill.
Getting that from
Listen to this part.
To us at this end. Well, it all depends on what condition he is in. And the portfolio. He come back to he has not been relieved of the portfolio, as you know. But we'll have to assess the situation when he returns to determine how strenuous he can function.
That you had mentioned previously that you might make a slight adjustment regarding that because you will have his portfolio.
Yes, that is still on the cards. I maybe next week or so I'll rectify that.
You're still not doing that?
Yes, it's still behind me. But I propose to adjust that in the very near future. I have not spoken to him directly for a while, but other members of the cabinet have been. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm out in Lahoketa next week, Thursday, where I will speak to the community there for a while. We have a first public meeting in that area, and we'll have a number of other meetings.
He bounced his head. Speaking off the cuff, Rowley didn't want to announce that yet. They want to plan a public meeting in Lahoketa Talparo. Ours planned for the 10th of March.
After that, but we out next week Thursday, we'll be at the Lahoketa Community Center. Yeah, we'll do a bit of a stand-in and public information out.
Is the state bearing Minister Cuffie's medical bills?
Is it what? Some of it. The state is bearing a part of it. We did, in fact, when his condition was critical, the cabinet undertook to support him in a life-saving way, and we put a limit to that, and that's eventually when that is done, we'll give up.
Listen to this question.
What is the limit?
I couldn't say offhand, but it was not insubstantial.
The Prime Minister said, I cannot say offhand what is the limit, but it is not insubstantial. I want to return you to this position. The 98th report of the Salary Reviews Commission provides the terms and conditions of services of officers within the purview of the Salary Reviews Commission. Under the heading Medical Benefits, the report states a cabinet minister has entitlement to medical attention, treatment, and prescribed drugs for self, spouse, and children who are unmarried under the age of 18 at any health care facility under the regional health authorities, including the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. Where such medical attention treatment is not available at such health care facility, the cost at any other hospital, institution, or nursing home in Trinidad and Tobago to be met by the state. Keith Christopher Rowley needs to answer to the nation how he comes to be operating outside of the purview of the Salary Reviews Commission that pays his salary. How does he come to do that? I put out a statement today. After that, 2 statements, because we dealt with national security, we dealt with Maxie Cuffie, and both of them were stunts. And the opposition is missing in action. Somebody needs to speak about these things. The Prime Minister in a press conference to the nation today admitted to not having any information on the health and fitness for duty of MP Maxie Cuffie and that he is relying on updates from the family, despite the fact that the Prime Minister is wholly responsible to determine if a by-election has to be called to safeguard the rights of the constituents of Lahoqueta Talparo. This contradicts his other admission that the state through the cabinet is bearing a not insubstantial sum towards the cost of MP Cuffie's healthcare, begging the question as to why they have not asked for an update on what they are paying for. Lastly, I am unaware of any provision in law for the provision of such funding for overseas medical care, and will be calling on the Prime Minister to advise the nation. This was sent to the entire cabinet, the opposition, and the entire media. Advise the nation as to what guidance he and the cabinet obtained that they were within their rights to do so. As of now, all we have learned is that the people of this country are in fact paying MP Maxie Cuffie's medical bills, but have no idea of his condition or if or when he might be able to return to resume duties. All of that is highly suspect and totally unacceptable. This is no way to run a country. The constituents of Lahoqueta Talparo have rights to proper parliamentary representation, and the citizens of this country have the right to not have public funds being spent fraudulently by the government. On the heels of this update, we will be once again raising this issue in the public space, inclusive of questioning the legality of the cabinet's action. We, as a people in Trinidad and Tobago, have to go to bed tonight worried that our government, in the person of the Prime Minister, is willing to defraud the state and deceive the population, conspire with others within his government to be in contempt of Parliament, and to bring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives into odium and disrepute. The entire cabinet right now is tarnished. We are in deep and murky water, and somebody has to call this government to order. The last thing I want to put into the public space, because he opened that press conference to talk about the weapon of mass destruction, the stunt of them disrupting, terrorist disruption for Carnival. Today in Florida, there was a shooting in a school, and the entire United States media shut down and focused. By the time the shooting was still, the smoke was still in the air, you know the shoe size and the temperament of the shooter. You are talking about foiling a plan that was concocted to disrupt Carnival, the largest gathering of Trinidadians and foreigners in one space, and to do so by means of terrorist activities. And nothing after that news conference. If you turn on BBC, Fox, NBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, if you turn on China News Network right now, you will see shooting in Florida, 15 dead, 75 wounded, shooter in custody. You will get information. There are graphics, there are whole presentations about this. We've had a situation, people are in custody, we don't know who, we don't know why, we don't know what evidence the government has. The Prime Minister says they got information from foreign jurisdictions. They didn't say who. He said maybe it's the Americans. We are in deep and murky water. You are in a situation where your government is willing to use threats to national security to lie to the people, to come back and talk about an anti-gang bill. I am telling Trinidad and Tobago, that Prime Minister of that government cannot be trusted with any more legislation. We have to make a decision now. As a people, we need to get together. We need to come out and talk. We need to get together as a nation. This can't continue. You cannot let them write any more laws. You cannot let the 41 in that parliament conspire further to disrobe you of your human rights. I listened to the media, Kamal, Ethan Georges and the rest asking some pissing tail questions. You are talking about terrorist activity. I again offered free of charge to the media and the government today. I sent this media release right after his press conference to the entire government, the entire cabinet, the entire diplomatic corps, the opposition, the media. This, Mr. Prime Minister, as head of the Security Council, are you aware of intel? I've been given information. This information is I know that it is known to every Minister of National Security and the Prime Ministers. As Prime Minister, as head of the National Security Council, are you aware of intel at the level of the national security apparatus that arms and ammunition have been brought into this country via shipping containers of used cars and car parts, and that many of these containers, despite this knowledge known to the highest echelons of the law enforcement intelligence community, continue to enter the country without check or scrutiny? Also, as head of the Security Council, are you aware, Mr. Prime Minister, of the advanced state of the planning, of the architecture, even so far as to receiving quotes for construction, establishment and development for the maritime security wall, a virtual interconnected wall 3 miles out at sea, surrounding the 2 islands of the nation-state of Trinidad and Tobago that would provide jumping-off platforms for law enforcement, Coast Guard, Customs and Excise and immigration personnel to interdict and interrupt contraband smuggling, inclusive of, but not limited to, the illegal narcotics trade, the illegal arms trade, the illegal currency trade, and human cargo for trafficking. That these platforms would be heavily armed and include helicopter gunships and fast interceptor gunboats to secure this nation's borders, and would be connected by the existing 360-degree radar, and which could be further augmented by regional and international monitoring. Mr. Prime Minister, 29 months into your administration, can you advise why this maritime security wall has not been established, despite your admission to massive amounts of illegal guns coming into the country, in excess of 30,000 units, the estimate you gave, and despite your Minister of National Security admitting to the Parliament that citizens of this country have been kidnapped and trafficked? Further, Mr. Prime Minister, can you advise why you have not taken up international partner countries on their offers to assist in the securing of this nation's borders, the cleaning up of any corrupt elements within our police service, and the provision of assistance in manpower and material to end the nightmares of violent criminal gangs and terrorist training organizations within our country? Finally, Mr. Prime Minister, by your own words, more than 40% of shipping containers enter this country unchecked and unexamined. Can you advise what measures have been put in place to reverse that state of affairs in light of the additional threats of terrorist activity to the existing reputation of this nation being a narco state and hub for illegal arms, ammunition, and human trafficking? In your capacities of Prime Minister and head of the National Security Council, you are uniquely poised to effect instant, measurable change in all these issues raised. Can you advise what, if anything, has been done under your stewardship or that of your administration? Thank you in advance for your speedy and in-depth response. The government is lying to you and holding up to you wisps and vapors and threats and rumors and allegations and information that cannot be corroborated or underpinned by evidence. The government might as well be hosting a comedy night and have Paul Keynes Douglas and Larry Joseph read you the news, because nothing the Prime Minister said today in his media conference could have been substantiated. No one in the media tried to drill him down to provide such fact and evidence to substantiate what he was saying. So we came out of that press conference less informed than when we went in. How? We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, how many ever of us are awake, have a responsibility to wake everybody else up. This video, now that you're watching, share it everywhere. Share it with everybody. Tell them ignore all the others. Watch the facts in this video. Forget me. Forget me. This is not about me. Watch the facts in this video and challenge them. And when you realize that these facts are carved in stone, go to your government and ask your government what the hell is going on. Because Trinidad and Tobago, we are now, today, Ash Wednesday, everybody drunk and tired. Carnival Friday, they went to tell you they are going to take away the farm nurseries in St. Augustine and turn that into public housing. I'm telling you, they don't care about feeding people in this country. They just care about stunts. That public housing is tens and hundreds of millions of dollars in financiers' pocket. That is food out your children's belly. I ain't going down that road tonight. We are in a situation, and I'm saying this to Trinidad and Tobago, we are in a situation where your government cannot be trusted. We are in deep and murky water. We have to get a resolution to this. And the only resolution is not a by-election in Lahokete Talbaro. We need the parliament dissolved. We need a fresh election in this country. Trinidadians need to wake up to the truth. We need to campaign the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago every hour of every day of the 6 weeks of that campaign and let everybody know the facts and the truth and let them make a decision based on that. If armed with factual evidence and truth, Trinidadians choose to cut their own throat, we could stop. We could walk away. We could say we tried. You can't drown a horse trying to get it to drink. You could lead it to water. That's what we do every single day. We do this every Saturday. This Saturday at noon, 19th Stanmore Avenue, we do it again. The water is there. We work very hard to bring the horses to the water. But that's as far as we can go. The truth of the matter is that the public of Trinidad and Tobago has to get itself involved now. We cannot continue like this. If this is smokescreen, if all of this is bullshit, to ram a cybercrime and an anti-gang bill home that removes all of your right to opposition, to opposing the government, to organizing yourself. If they stop a maxi taxi and one man is a gang member, 26 all you're going down. If they pass in a housing complex and they find one gang member, they can take everybody. That is the draconian madness of that law. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to decide. The laws that we already have, without writing a single other law, could solve all the problems in Trinidad and Tobago. Do we really trust this government with more power? The answer is no. The answer is no. Your Prime Minister is a liar, a serial teller of untruths, a masterful fabricator, a complex deceiver, and a high-functioning sociopath. We have to face that. You cannot solve the problem operating at the same mindset you were operating at when you caused it. We have to get rid of all of them. We have to get to an election. That is the conversation we have to be having. And right now, all of us need to wake our brothers and sisters up. Everybody, everybody, everybody. Because if you feel that you're safe with a CPEP job or a HTC house, all that is for now. You're just the bottom of the ladder. When they come for you, they're coming for you last. And there will be nobody to defend you. And you're done weak already. Your ass and your belly dragging. You're literally dependent on the government. You think, after they take everything else and remove the power of everybody else, you think you safe. Come now, man. Come now, man. Anyway, the purpose of this video was to begin the process of this conversation. We are going to prosecute this matter with Maxie Cuffie now. The government has forced us into that position. So we are taking this as a matter before the courts. We need to prosecute the government for the deceptions and misbehaving in public office. So we will be having as our emergency meeting this Saturday before our public meeting. Our national executive will discuss where we as a political organization go with this. We need to know and we need to find out what the hell is going on with the elected opposition. Are they drawing salaries under false pretenses? Are they missing in action? Do we have to send out a be on the lookout for Kamala and Rudal and Suruj? What is going on? What is going on? Trinidad and Tobago. That you have to answer. You have to wake everybody else up. You have to have these conversations. We need to get together and decide as a people. We need to work this out. We need to fix Trinidad and Tobago. Step 1, all 41 must go. This Saturday at noon, 19 Stanmore Avenue, we have a public meeting. March the 10th at 6 p.m., we in La Hoqueta Talparo. Between this Saturday and that Saturday, we will be walking around in La Hoqueta Talparo because we're going to wake those people up too. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you get a say. You have a chance now. This is not like Calcutta ship and slave ship in Tobago. There is a progressive empowerment party. Your party. You have a real political choice now. Let's see where we go. Until I speak to you again, until we meet again, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.